This We the People News, Part 2. Okay? Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Just hearsay. It's educational. Okay? Um, Never just look straight forward. Always look around and be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Use the Second Amendment. Arm yourself with knowledge. Let's proceed forward. How about that?
The distinction arises from the words of law in the phrase due process of law. Procedural due process protects individuals from the coercive power of government by ensuring the adjudication processes under valid laws are fair and impartial. Such protections, for the example, include sufficient and timely what? Notice. You must receive sufficient and timely notice of why a party is required to appear before the court or government body. The right to an impartial trial. So if I get caught up in a county or if I get caught up in a municipality, then the same municipality is going to attempt to try me and be a trial of facts, then we have an issue with a venue, or we have an issue where this not an impartial. You're not going to be impartial when the state or the county receives benefits or potentially receives benefits from this transaction. Because basically you're robbing my estate. And the trial of law and the right to give testimony and present relevant evidence at hearing. So if you get caught in a traffic ticket, right, what evidence do you have to the contrary? How can you prove speeding? Nobody can prove speeding. Not even the officer can prove speeding. Even if they caught you on camera with a gun. Who's to say that the speeding gun works? Who's to say that that's actually hitting your car? You see what I'm saying? So it's impossible to prove that. That's why you don't get into semantical arguments. That's why I keep it straight to substantive due process or procedural due process. That's it. We don't need to be talking about nothing else in court. Because anything else is a waste of your time. Same thing with mortgages, etc. All right? In contrast, substantive due process protects individuals against majoritarian policy. Okay? So let's look at what majoritarianism is. The political philosophy or ideology with the agenda asserting that majority based on religion, language, social class, or other category of the population is entitled to a certain degree of primacy in society and has a right to make decisions that affect the society. What? That's what the hell is going on in court anyway. Okay, policy enactments that exceed the limits of government authority, meaning I don't really have to argue my right of travel. I need to argue why can anybody infringe on my right of due process.
So even with that one he just brought up a second ago, right? I have in my state one representative, but a bunch of them gathers around and they decide to create a law, but mine says, no, we don't want this law. What do they just do? Right? The legislatures, Congress, and your state 78 years ago passed a bunch of things. Well, I didn't vote for that. They wasn't my representative. So we got to figure out there's a constitutional thing that they got to stay in the guidelines with, but they just keep adding and adding and adding particular policies, statutes, codes, rules, and regulations that we don't vote for.
Because once they hand the traffic ticket, it's not about it's not about your right to travel. It's about your legal right of them being able to prosecute the traffic ticket and to deprive you of an asset that's in the name of your estate. That's what it's about. It has nothing to do with the right to travel or these semantical arguments. Just like when people bring up mortgages and they're not bringing up the right actual things in court that would just stomp out a mortgage. Mortgages are easy as hell to beat. So are car loans. But we're not going to get into that. I'm just sticking to the due process rights right to travel and why it's a waste of time to bring that up as an argument. Okay? So look, courts may find courts may find that a majority's enactment is not law and cannot be enforced as such, regardless of whether the processes of the enactment and enforcement were actually fair. Okay, the term was first used explicitly in 1930 legal casebooks as a categorical distinction of selected due process cases. Okay, so I'm not even going to go through this because it's going to be a waste, and I got a consultation coming up shortly. So I'm going to tell you one thing. All right, the key that you need to understand is when you're going into court is not always what you say; it's your understanding of where you are. So when you're dealing with a courtroom, the court is not actually held in the room where they're giving you the show trial. That's not where the court is held. The court is truly held with the clerk. Okay, you shouldn't even be showing up in court. The court is held with the clerk. Okay, so when you hear people about these semantical right to travel arguments and all this stuff, most of y'all don't even know how to hold court right. That's why when I was doing law classes, I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing it because people don't really get into the law aspect. Once you get into the law aspect and you know that you're not supposed to even be in this court, even arguing in front of people, you're not even supposed to be there. Once you understand that, it changes the dynamic. So let's see. What else I want to bring up here? Okay. We're going to get into the federal rules of evidence. Okay, this is a very easy thing to do for people who are trying to learn law. Maybe you have a child support case coming up. Maybe you have something. You want to learn the rules of evidence. Okay, once you understand the evidence code, just start from the federal rules of evidence and expand into your state rules of evidence. Okay, once you learn the evidence code, you can get anything excluded out of evidence that is not qualified. You need to learn this. So a lot of y'all be sitting here listening to these stuff, and I've got people in my comment section saying, I got a problem with child support, blah, 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 I got a problem with this, I got a problem with that. Fam, what you think is dire is not dire. The only thing that's going to pull you out of your dire needs is your own reading, your comprehension, your knowledge, your wisdom. I can help you, but I ain't going to court for you. You see what I'm saying? Because you're going to have to stand up on that on your own. So I can help you. I can give you law. I can break it down to you. I can give you strategy and all of that. Even a lawyer can do that. But see, so I've even seen people in the comment section saying stuff about lawyers. Fam, if you don't know the law, how you going to tell your lawyer what to do? Lawyers are not all evil. Some of them are good, some of them are evil, just like people. If you don't know the law, how can you direct a lawyer? How can you tell a lawyer what to do when you don't even know what the hell to do? See, what it is what they did is they allowed us to become, they used the law against us and allowed us to become ignorant of the law. And then when we hire an attorney, we're still ignorant of the law, and the attorney is trying to tell us, trying to say, hey, once he get that last check, or once he get that check, or she get that check, she out. And the reason why is because we're so ignorant. We don't know the rules. We don't know what we should be pleading. We hire people and then we don't do our own research. So even if you get a business, you still should know as much law as the lawyer. So because if you get an LLC, you can't go in there and represent your business having an LLC. That was the trick. I know I'm going off the right to travel, but the key is to understand hold them at the initial court. Okay? Hold them at the initial evidence of that. There should be no officer testifying in your court case because he is not qualified, and nor have you been served or received notice, which is a violation of procedural or substantive due process. Okay? So a lot of times when people are telling you the right to travel, they're wasting your time. It's a wasted argument. It is a dumb argument to bring up in court. It has absolutely nothing to do with what's going on in court. And that's all I wanted to talk about. So I see these videos popping up. It's not to be, taking these to be snarky or take shots at people. Why are they wasting your time having you bring up the right to travel? There's no law in any state, and I've read almost every state. That's the one cool thing about doing this job, or not job, but well, I don't know what to call it. But that's the one cool thing about me helping people from other states and cities, right? I get to learn their law. There's no state that I have ever seen that requires you to have a driver's license. Okay, so all of this, the state infringing on your right to travel, etc., it's BS. It's a waste of time. And also, you have to understand that the officers they're operating under the executive branch, so the officers are not even officers of the state. So go look at your state constitution and tell me where the police officer is constitutionally bound. Okay, you might have to read your constitution; it may be different than mine. But in most constitutions, the police officers, they're not even of the state. You know what I'm saying? So that's usually sheriffs. It's some states' constitutions may be different. But the police officers acting under, executive powers. And that's not even, people try to say it's the 10th Amendment that gives them the authority to do that. No, it's Article 1. But for now, I just wanted to talk about that and to make sure that you guys are not bringing up nonsensical arguments or getting into actual arguments in court. In most instances, it should not be an argument when I have a traffic ticket or some sort of violation and they're trying to proceed on my rights and trying to put this in evidence and use it against me and act as if it's a fact when it hasn't been qualified as a fact. And with that being said, I'm out.
Alrighty. So that is the winner's circle. All right. And again, check out his videos. What was I going to say? Check out his videos without my input. And that way you have a little bit more clearer understanding. My thing is blurry. So, kind of go through there and look at his. One of his wasn't blurry due to my internet services out here right now. My town, it's one of them things that just comes and goes. All right. This is Diesel We the People News. Okay. Never just look straight forward. Always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Till next time. Bye, y'all.